Geeta, what happens here on between the two countries if, let's say, it does go ahead and the trade ties are snapped? What was once a friendly country is targeting Indian government against one of the pro-Khalistan leaders, saying, we believe that your country shot him dead. All of this while Khalistani activities and referendums are increasing. What happens here on between the two countries, Geeta?
Well, Pooja, these are two different matters in many ways. And one is because Khalistani elements being given space in Canada is a concern for India. But if Indian agencies are involved in the killing of a Canadian citizen, it becomes a different matter altogether, irrespective of whether if he was a terrorist, a militant or not. Now, the issue over here is a very major diplomatic incident now between India and Canada, where an Indian diplomat has been expelled. It is a very, very serious matter that an Indian diplomat has been expelled and he is being called an RNAW, raw agent. And therefore, Canada will now have to provide proof. The fact that the Canadian Prime Minister himself has gone on the record in Parliament, in Canadian Parliament, and the Foreign Minister of Canada, Minister Melanie Joly, has come out and named the person who has been expelled and calling him a raw agent, clearly shows that the Canadian government is actually quite missed and is taking on India on the record. This is not an off-the-record, source-based conversation of Canada having found some instances or links. The Canadian authorities are speaking on the record, so we will have to, Pooja, wait and see what is the evidence that Canada is going to provide with regards to India's involvement. It doesn't matter who the person was or whether the person was involved in anti-India activities on Canadian soil.
I'll keep requesting you to, of course, update us and keep sending us more reactions. India will soon have an official statement also likely. We haven't reacted yet as a nation, and that remains to be seen what does the government says. But this is not going to go down well between the two countries. Thank you so much for now, Geeta Mohan and Gaurav Sawant. I'm also joined in now by an expert on diplomatic affairs, Mr. Robindra Sachdev. Mr. Sachdev, what happens here on? Because Canada was supposed to be or was expected to take action against Khalistani activities, anti-India activities. Instead, it goes ahead and sacks the Indian diplomat.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I can see perhaps two things happening. One is, in diplomacy, generally there's a tit for tat. So India would also, I think, in the next 24, 48 hours, probably expel some Canadian diplomat on some reason. Which we would have as a valid reason of ours. That's one which perhaps could happen in the next coming days, absolutely. And then secondly, I think probably our relations are, definitely negatively impacted hugely. And for the remaining part of the only thing which could bring an upside or, bring things back to some normal would be when a new government comes in Canada, and if it's not Trudeau, right? I don't know exactly how many years remain for his present term. So for the remaining term of Trudeau, we can expect our elections to be icy. And in the elections which are there in Canada, maybe in a year or two, I don't know exactly when. And if someone else than Trudeau comes. If Trudeau comes, then again, it will continue to be icy. But if some other leader is elected, then we can expect some repair in our relations. Otherwise, extremely unfortunately, and this step by the Canadian government is preposterous from what I would say, absolutely. However, it has to be noted that Canada for the past 6 months has often said in between, though not maybe much carried in, wider media, that India is interfering in its internal affairs. It has said, in fact, it has said China and India. And it has said that India is interfering more. China is also...
And perhaps a more mature stance would have been to put a certain evidence in public domain rather than sack diplomats and threaten to snap ties and believe that Indian government could be behind it. I appreciate you joining us, Mr. Robindra Sachdev, with your viewpoint. Remains to be seen, as you correctly pointed out, what happens in the next 24 hours. Thank you very much for now.